Hi everybody. I'm still at work here, and it's my first attempt with YouTube, and I have to put my glasses on because of course I can't read my script, which I did send to Claire in an email, but my colleagues forced me to try with a YouTube account. So excuse me, we'll see how this works out. I found it difficult to isolate any single memory of Stephen alone, like by himself, because in the early days he came as part of a package that included Jim, Monica, Aunt Mary, and Uncle Jerry. I always thought that things on the Waukegan side of the Mercier Bridge were so intriguing. Imagine they had a car with a hole in the floor. I was fascinated by this, and I would watch the pavement zipping by as we went along the road, but at the same time I was terrified that my foot would go through and I was going to leave a body part on the Mercier Bridge. On one of our visits, which more often than not included a meal and sleeping over, which was always fabulously fun, we were going to have chop suey for supper. Now, I don't think I had ever had chop suey, but it sounded so interesting. I remember being in the Waukegan basement, and all the cousins worked themselves into a frenzy, doing the chop suey dance, swinging themselves around the metal poles, and chanting, "Chop suey, chop suey, chop suey." Of course, now I know that chop suey is basically ground beef and bean sprouts, but like I said, everything was so intriguing at the Waukegan house on Bedard Street. Stephen seemed to experience more than his share of medical events, and in particular I remember, as if I recall it correctly, he was climbing a fence and he got caught by his armpit. It was really a horrific accident, and we were all terribly upset by it. I remember Aunt Mary and my mom talking in hushed voices about the incident. Aunt Mary was the family barber, and I recollect Saturday evenings Aunt Mary and the gang would come out to Chateauguay to give the boys haircuts. When the Waukegas moved to British Columbia, I felt a sense of loss, and I know my mom missed her sister Mary terribly. But the stories, it was so cold in Prince Rupert, I think that's where you moved to, that the water froze in the toilet. And I think there may have been a moose or a bear, something in your backyard, Stephen. But see, it's still so interesting. Then you all moved back to Ontario, and although we weren't back together in the same province, it was a huge improvement and good enough for us. But what is imprinted in my memory and my heart is the love that we had for each other. The love between our mothers was so bountiful that it encompassed us all. I always felt so lucky that we had each other. Stephen, I wish you a most happy 60th birthday. Always with love, your cousin Kathy. Have a great weekend.